Thank you for letting me know. I was setting up something before the stream, and apparently I muted the one mic because I was getting double feedback. And apparently I muted the wrong mic. Well, I imagine the quality of the stream was probably better when I was muted, so let's see real quickly just to give you some information on the bands. We did have Battlefield of Eternity banned out by Habitual Line Steppers, as well as Tomb of the Spider Queen. 30 Seconds of Mosh did ban out Braxis Holdout and Towers of Doom, with Habitual Line Steppers opting to pick Infernal Shrines. And so very much we did see very similar bans as last time. Unfortunately, no Artanis, but we do have a Hammer and a Deathwing. With that, I'll see you shortly. I'll see you in game number 1. Is better than eating pork rinds on stream. Indeed.
The battle begins in...
Alright, we'll start out with our introductions. On the left hand side, we do have the Habitual Line Steppers with No More Heroes on the Greymane, Boomer APM on the Sergeant Hammer, Turtwig on the Stukov, and Vern on the New Barak. Pelder playing the Leogo in mid. On the side of 30 Seconds to Mosh, we have Under X on the Deathwing, the Captain on Jaina, Born to Shine on Deckard Cain, Raka on the Blaze, and Farfan Nugan on the War Chief. Everybody's War Chief, right? Garrosh, and right away we do see a pick-off. And a noob able to burr up, at least barely, but does go down for first blood. Advantage for... $30 seconds so much. What do we do to see the teams get into the rotation? Offlaners doing their offlane thing. 30 seconds does start that bottom siege camp. We get to look at the talents being chosen. So, while I was muted, I did mention that this is a matchup between the top 2 teams in Division E. Division E is a double round robin, with 30 Seconds to Mosh winning the first matchup in the domination 2-0. So imagine Habitual Line Steppers were looking towards this particular matchup. We do see a noob getting tossed, but able to borrow away. We do see Jaina and Deckard go begin their Brewster camp. Although Hammers by themselves, and gonna get some value down here. I mean, Garrosh looks like they're rotating down, but able to skid away. "30 seconds to Mosh" does have pretty beefy front line, but with that Leo definitely helps being able to do some percent damage to the Blaze and the Deathwing. We do have Hammer trying to get away. The ally toss from Garrosh able to help secure that first kill. And right away, 30 seconds to Mosh do get on the shrine. You'd have Leo trying to get some of that clear before they move down, and likely, like, I imagine they're probably going to give this up. We do see 4 members of Habitual line steppers still hanging out top. I mean, with a Greymane and a camp, I imagine they're going to get quite a bit of value, especially if an noob comes here, and it looks like we're going to have one of those old-fashioned base races, right? We do have Blaze recognizing this and starting to move up, but a Blaze by themselves likely not going to do much. Oh, we did see them back off, so I'm surprised, because they probably could have gotten half or more of this down. We do have the Punisher being secured. Leo being tossed out by the Garrosh, but if someone's gonna get thrown, Leo's probably who you want. Especially if you die, correct? You can't get trait value if you don't die. We do see 30 seconds to Mosh being able to secure that first fort. Especially on this map, it's always a win if you could get the wall down and maybe some of the structure, but being able to secure a fort this early is actually really good. We do have the Stukov being tossed by the Garrosh, able to get away from the moment being. Deathwing trying to help zone out the Hammer. Looks like both teams did the right thing and didn't focus on the camp. Blaze trying to keep up that soak. Oh, and 30 seconds did get the bottom siege that they maybe wouldn't have engaged. Toss on a noob again. Silence follow-up from the Sukov. Now we have the Cataclysm from the Deathwing. Hammer trapped in a very bad spot, as well as Leo going down. Jaina very much... Oh, and a noob gets away with about 50 health, it looked like. We do have now ultimates online. Belling Roar. Lore NATO. So I imagine we're going to get a more NATO game. Deathwing trying to get some value bought with that camp. But quickly decides that does not want to hang out and play with Hammer. Stukov! I completely missed that, but somehow ended up in the very far corner on the side of 30 seconds to Mosh. I imagine maybe was trying just to get away. Now with 10s online, we have both teams with their ultimates. We did have Bunker summon one elemental with the... Now as you see, Entomb, Garrosh able to use that toss to save the Jaina for the moment being. A noob does go down, and then as well as Leo. Obviously makes sense to have a Decimate. I think you could have made the case for Taunt as well, but I guess Decimate is fine. We do see the Invade by 30 seconds of Mosh. Sparkheart, thank you for the follow. Cursed Bullet, Flailing Swipe, Cocoon, Napalm Strike, and Entomb. Habitual Line Steppers likely recognizing that 30 seconds of Mosh was invading. Noob trying to get away, and Peel does have to burn Cocoon down just to provide some space for that Stukov. Likely that Stukov might have been in trouble. I guess they don't really have a diving team or high mobility, but Stukov also doesn't have much mobility, so would have only waddled away slowly. And then it looks like we're going to be seeing Habitual Line Steppers again move to try to get some sort of value. With a Greymane and a Hammer and a Noob, will make very quick work. Have the fort, and now they're able to secure a fort. The top fort will be going passively down with the Winions. And I imagine they're likely going to be able to get this bottom fort as well. And that's a very nice trade for Habitual Line Steppers. They were down in structures, and this very much will put them pretty close to even though there can be some structure damage here. We do have 3 members of 30 Seconds to Watch now responding to that bottom push, so we're going to see maybe a little bit of an engage here. We do see Bellowing Roar being used. Garrosh leading the flank, focusing on the Anub, does get the toss. Anub use Cocoon to try to get away from the Garrosh. Leo comes, and the range and Water Elemental still was able to get Anub, and unfortunately Anub, typically known as a tank who can deal with spell damage, not able to negate all of it versus that Jaina. We do have now Punisher, John Cena, pushing top keep. Obviously, 30 Seconds to Mosh having to respond. We'll be opening up the towers. Get some damage down. I mean, overall, even with some deaths, they didn't quite get that bottom fort. But I would say it was still pretty good play. They were kind of down on structures. They need to catch up about 2 levels down, so they're going to have to close that gap as best as possible. "30 Seconds to Mosh" does pick up that bottom siege, and they've done a really good job. And if you look at the mini map, very much painted red for the most part. Obviously, with that talent disadvantage, Habitual Line Steppers having to try to get value elsewhere. We do have the Entomb on the Deathwing, and Deathwing gets away with about 120 health. Silence follow-up from the Stukov. Deathwing having to back off, but still a Noob getting a little bit low. Blaze was not there. So that was definitely the fight that Habitual Line Steppers wanted to take. Imagine 30 Seconds to Mosh gonna say, let's back off, get our 16s, and with 16s now online, we do see that Habitual Line Steppers do try to secure that bottom fort again, trying to get some more of that passive XP. So even though they've lost both objectives, the structural advantage that 30 Seconds to Mosh is not massive, so they're staying within striking distance, but gotta be careful though, especially if 30 Seconds to Mosh able to get to level 20 first, which at this rate they should. Habitual Line Steppers likely trying to wait and get 16s for themselves. And still doing a very good job of denying these camps. Not only does it stop giving some XP to Habitual Line Steppers, it very much just makes it so that they're able to get some value with it. We do see now 30 seconds of Mosh. Look like they're trying to siege that middle fort. A noob gets tossed. The follow-up from the blaze does land, and a noob gets melted. Followed up with a kill on the Stukov as well. We do see now Silence and... No, not Silence and Tomb, I say. They do come out. As a Leo player, I always want to say Silence and Tomb. But able to get a very good exchange there. And 30 seconds to Mosh, very much showcasing the ability to just, hey, we can't get to that hammer, but we can just kill the tank. So very much this front to back strategy has been working. Right away they do get to the shrine. Habitual line steppers about a level, just under a quarter behind. Still not too far off, but they definitely want to try to close that gap as much as possible. They look like they're going to go in, recognizing that they have members split. We do have the Entomb on the garage. Oh, wait, was that a cocoon? I was going to say, Gawash looked super low. Oh, it must have been the potions. There's a lot of bodies there. Leo does get focused down by the blaze and will go down, but obviously just getting that trait value, unless the person you put your spooky hand on gets out of range. You have the middle shrine Punisher now pushing the middle keep. With those 2 kills did extend their lead now to 2 levels. So I'm going to make it a little more difficult. But even with that, Habitual line steppers do have a hammer, and hammer's not the easiest to be able to siege. We do have the Great Man being tossed. Stukov uses the silence to try to get a disengage, but the noob and the Great Man do go down. Leo getting chunked, also forced to back up. The blaze does get the stun on Stukov, and the hammer uses bunker to try and soak up some of that damage from the keep. Leo hung around a little bit too long and does go down as well. We also have a push bottom, and so 30 seconds of Mosh now looks like they have the opportunity to potentially end with level 20s online. We do have Arrival of a God, Wintermute, more NATOs, and Deadly Calm. But this is one of the more challenging cores to try to end because of that route that the keep. But doesn't matter if you have an unstoppable like Garrosh and able to then flip the opposing team to your own team. We do have the Entomb on the Garrosh, but imagine Garrosh is not going to be able to care too much about that. 30 seconds of Mosh, able to focus the keep or the core and do win. And moving on to now game number 2. I guess I should show the stat sheet first. And I guess I didn't realize, and it never really happened, but being able to kind of show a clean sheet, 16 kills in favor of 30 seconds to Mosh and 0 for Habitual line steppers, very much from start to finish. Not being able to get value of that hammer. I think between the Decker, the Garrosh, and the Death Wing, hammer wasn't very much able to push in. Let's look at some of the damage. Relatively low, I think, for the most part. Not many team fights. And the match was only about 15 minutes, so I think the numbers are a little bit lower than typically you would see. But in the end, the idea that 30 Seconds to Mosh did get the outcome they wanted, and very much were able to carry out their particular comp to secure the victory for game number 1. Quickly show the talents for those of you who are interested in seeing it. I did like the Cursed Bullet from Greymane. And even with the Leo, so again, trying to respond to that very tanky front line, but after those first couple objectives, the Habitual line steppers did fall behind a little bit, and obviously makes it kind of difficult having to kind of move into positions of trying to do Hail Marys just to catch up, which can go well, but obviously can also go very bad. Everything very much looks the same. We do see kind of the offlane blaze. Yeah, this is kind of the standard Stukov build. It's one of those things that with a Deathwing, you kind of makes it annoying. But definitely the Lornados did create some chaos in favor of 30 Seconds to Mosh. We'd be moving on to the map select. Again, for those who just maybe joined us recently, may update the stats and information. Infernal Shines was selected by Habitual line steppers. So we're going to be waiting now for our next matchup. And so I did mention Battlefield of Eternity and Tomb of a Spider Queen being banned out by Habitual line steppers, and Braxis Holdout and Towers of Doom was banned out by 30 Seconds to Mosh. So they very much followed the script from the first matchup. I'm a little bit paranoid. I need to go through my audio settings and making sure that I'm not muted. So, like I said, the quality of the stream probably goes up when I'm muted. So, not necessarily a bad thing. See if we pull up some of the standings. As I did mention, we do have Habitual line steppers technically in front. I think, do they have the same number of games? Might be because they don't have the same number of games. Let me actually pull up the settings here of the matchup. And, oh yeah, Habitual line steppers have played one more game. 8 matches, 30 Seconds to Mosh are 7. So they're very much line in line. So even though Habitual line steppers are technically ahead, they have played one more game. So again, this matchup is very important for dictating who's going to be 1 and 2. We do have really aggro goal leads also tied with 22 points. So very much 3 teams at the top of this particular division. With that, we'll take a short little break while we wait for the teams to set up the next match. See you shortly. All right, we're back. Looks like the lobby has been graded, and we're going to be going to Alterac Pass. It appears that Habitual line steppers opted for map pick again, and will be taking us there. Teams are getting ready, going into the lobby, so I imagine we're going to be starting briefly, but see if we can look at some stats of map picks in the division. Usually I hear Alterac Pass, people either like it or they hate it. I don't think there's a in between. At least as someone who plays Hogger, I like it. But imagine if you don't like Hogger, likely don't like it. Battlegrounds. I don't know if this is... these numbers seem off. Oh, I guess because there aren't that many teams in the division. So I was like, I say, the numbers seem low, but Alterac Pass is the third most played map in Division E, with 6 games. Infernal Shrines and Towers of Doom are the top 2. At the bottom, we have Sky Temple. Wait, is Braxis missing? It's like Braxis not been played in this division. This seems off. These stats were updated from yesterday's. But not sure. That seems about right. There's a smaller division. I'm just in some other data. See the hero picks. Oh, both teams did ready up. And we'll be moving to our draft screen for game number 2. Thank you for the... Oh, gifted sub. Thank you. I look at some... Usually I look at the data of the popularity. I think very much is still Anduin and Johanna. Oh, it's actually Stukov in Division E. Stukov is the most popular. Either 83% ban or pick, so 97 combined. Very interesting. Then it's followed by Anduin, then Johanna, then Brightwing, then Garrosh. So here with the most bands. Huh. I feel like something's off with these numbers. Stukov is the most banned at 83%. Then it's Hammer at 45%. Then Johanna, then Garrosh. 45%. Well, there's the Anduin ban. The Hawk is not surprising. The Hawk is, I think, in all of NGS, one of the top 3. I look at all of NGS. Pretty certain. Like this before. So, oh, in all of NGS, Johanna's the most. Oh no. In all of NGS, Johanna's the most banned at 45%. Stukov is the second most banned. Then Anduin, and then Dahaka. Then Garrosh and Bala. That's all of NGS. Slightly different numbers. We do see that Johanna, as far as popularity, actually Silva's not as popular. 16% ban and 45% overall popularity ban or pick. It's always interesting. Obviously, that's going to be dependent on the picks, and something that definitely won't be banned this time is the Samru, followed by the Stukov. They're continuing that, obviously, popularity of Stukov, either banned or picked. You see the Garrosh and the Deckard. That was a combo that worked out very well. Now we do see a Junkrat coming through. Junkrat, another of those heroes that often gets banned. I think usually in higher leagues we do see Junkrat either a first pick or a first ban. He'd be a very annoying hero in the right hands, but I guess that's the case of every hero. All those butcher one tricks rejoice. You see the Stitches being banned out again, and the Orphea. You do hear the kind of traditional, you don't want to double mage. We know that Junkrat's kind of in that middle point, right? Does have some magey aspects, but also like in between, right? Does have some auto attack depending on how you build it. You do see the Chromie being banned out. So obviously Chromie's pretty good counter at times to that Junkrat. Around, thanks for the follow. You did have a Greymane and a May this time. I think May's a little bit harder, very much similar to the Noob. A little bit harder to kill because of that trait. The Noob is definitely a lot more squishy. But again, so they are opting to have the quote double mage with the Junkrat and Jaina, but like as I mentioned before, Junkrat's kind of like that flex-ish mage. And a Sonya, so I imagine we are going to have that. We're going to have a leap, crater, rocket ride. And we do see the Hammer again. Okay. again, well, I would say last time was a little more difficult, but 30 Seconds March does have quite a few tools to get to that hammer. There's a few things that hammer can do to kind of change how easy it is for them, right? So we'll see. Well, very similar lineup for both teams. With that, we'll move on to game number 2 on Ultrac. All right, welcome back. Oh, things all over the place. Let's get going with game number 2. We'll start with their introductions. On the blue side with Habitual line steppers, we do have Boomer APM on the hammer again. No More Heroes on the gray main. Vern 15 on the May. And Turtwig on the Sukov and Pelder on the Samru. On the side of 30 Seconds of Mosh. Farfanugan on that Garrosh. Raka on the Sonya. Captain on the Jaina. Andrex on Junkrat, and Born to Shine on the Deckard. We do see Hammer doing that cheeky hammer play, going down to get some value. We do see 2 members rotate right with this junk. Yeah, you're gonna see. You don't want to. We do see the toss from the Garrosh, trying to. Well, unlikely that was going to result in a kill. Hammer was kind of far under full health. May being tossed out, but like as I mentioned before, I imagine it's going to be a lot harder for them to kind of burst down a May. We do see both teams looking to rotate and start taking their siege camp. Some people call this the actual boss of this map, right? Even though we do have bosses at bottom and top. So you can agree with that. Samuel is going, looks like an E build. Stukov going again with that low blow. Junkrat looks like they're going mine. Sonya W. So like I mentioned before, Hammer does have a few different tools. I believe it was at 7, has that increased, has a 7 and 13, the increased W, push, barrier, which I think you have to take that into a Garrosh, into a Sonya. Having that physical barrier, I think, may have helped quite a bit last matchup. We do see the teams rotate up to try and get that Sonya. Sonya does get silenced. And we'll be going down, and right away is a change from previous match. First kill being secured this time. So we know that Habitual line steppers won't go without getting a kill at this match. We do have mid pushing. They will have to respond to that. We do see a fight still going up there. Samuru gets tossed, and for the most part should be fine. Samuru, there used to be a thing where you could clone mid-air. I think they very much fixed that. And so you can get tossed and then clone, and it, so you can very much just, even if you got taunted, you can like use your image to get out. I haven't been playing Sam against Garrosh that much and haven't seen that, so I'm not quite sure if it still is possible, but I know they fixed a lot of things with Samuru. For example, the which I will agree, being broken, that you can queue up your clones and back out and hearth back right away. I did, and you know, there you go. I did mention that May's a lot harder to kill, but I guess when the May's getting focused by the towers, gonna make quick work. We do see 30 seconds to Mosh moving to secure the first objective. Cramian and Sugov trying to get that camped out. That first camp got a little bit more value for 30 seconds to Mosh, and then we do see Samry trying to get some of that push. Really good job on the part of 30 seconds to Mosh. Typically, one of the strategies with the Samry is just to delay forever, and just the idea. I've been in matches where you get to level 10 and the first objective hasn't been secured. You know, 12. I think one time was 12, and you know, structures were already taken down and everything. So, with the right comp, you can delay this forever. But it usually does require having a Junkrat or a Hanzo or a Chromie. It's harder to delay with just a hammer. We do see him now rotating down to the Sonya, and again, kind of trying to do that same trick, and then Sonya getting silence will be going down. Habitual line stepper is able to take advantage of that rotation to secure a kill in the off lane. We do have the first objective. Still about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, so it's not going to be that scaled. Sam removing mid lane to try to hope clear. We do have Junkrat trying to push bottom. This is very much one of those... this is probably the equivalent to two bruisers slapping each other. It's like one person can't really step out or get to that other hero, and you know, Hammer can't really chase down a Junkrat, and Junkrat can't really go into a Hammer, at least for now. Both teams do move to start their siege camps, so both teams doing a good job of getting those out as fast as possible. Let's get some of the builds. We have the regenerative. I believe it's a 4, correct? I'm not a Hammer main. Pretty sure it's 4. We get that extra range. I know the Unstoppable's there, which I think almost 100% of the time I take, just because Unstoppable, especially into a Garrosh, and this team would have been good. We do see, well, I was mumbling about the Hammer talents. We did see Junkrat go down, and so very much Habitual line stepper is able to kind of take advantage of the 30 seconds of Mosh being a little bit more spread, and Junkrat, even though can anchor, if you get caught out, I mean, you only have, what is it, 1200 health? That's not much. We do see the Decker getting comboed and silenced. May goes in, able to secure the kill on the Decker to now kind of flipping, at least for the time being, the roles. A little bit more difficult this time for 30 seconds to deal with that Hammer. We do see mid gonna get some value. That likely is gonna go down. That's a huge wave with the camp. Yeah, and we'll be going down. Sammer's gonna try and play the game of cap while my team pushes, and I imagine that's exactly what they were trying to do. Mid does go down, so that's not something you want, especially trading that for... Or if you do that, you have to go back and secure this. We do see right away 30 seconds trying to get that top objective now going. Samurai, we do have ultimates of both. We have Go for the Throat, Veiling Swipe, Ice Wall, Napalm Strike, and Blade Storm. We have Leap, Rocket Ride, Decimate, Tornado, and Water Elemental. We're gonna have to see a Crater Rocket Ride, correct? It's just that's going to have to happen. We do see now both teams engage in. Lore NATO comes out. Very good stun. The Ice One does get the Garrosh, at least for the time being, isolating Greymane, able to follow up and get the Jaina, and Junkrat trying to rocket right away. I don't know if it was interrupted or just the damage was too much, not able to get away. That mid camp also able to get value, so they're able to kind of exchange mid forwards for those camps. We do see Habitual Line Sniper was able to secure that. Oh no, it wasn't secured. It was still secured by 30 seconds so much. I think just because of the fight and the way it went, I kind of just assumed that Habitual Line Snipers did win it, but 30 seconds to Mosh was able to secure the objective. Oh, Samru getting interrupted by the Sonyo. And the leap will follow up with the hammer able to peel. I forget what the name of the ability is. Yeah, the concussive blast. Yeah, I'm not a hammer main. We do see Mei falling down. Stukov still hanging around. I bet you want to just run. That Garrosh is mounted. That's actually a very good combo. Jaina going with that lingering chill. So able to kind of get the lingering chill passive from the Q. And you're just slowed. I think slows are probably one of the most annoying things. I think more so than stunts, and more so than, I mean, at least for myself personally, just having to deal with slows. We do see 30 seconds to Mosh. Go to the bottom boss, likely gonna get this without much contest. Habitual Line Steppers likely predicted this, and so move top. They imagine they should be able to. Oh, Samru. I was gonna say Samru almost got stunned. We do see them now moving top. I don't think they're gonna get there. Yeah, there's no way. Samru trying to use that wave clear, and then Hammer does back right away to help support, defend against that boss in the bottom lane. I think that, yeah, usually at this time level of the match, bosses are, I even say they're weaker than the siege camp. I forget exactly. It's 4100.
Looks like we're gonna have another prison camp to knock down.
Both teams have done a good job of getting that siege camp out on cooldown as much as possible. I think we have seen it from 30 seconds to Mosh get a little bit more value when it comes to taking down structures. Samru trying to do Samru things. Sonya, one of those heroes. Oh, we don't see the full E build. Typically, the E build is what you do see, like a mixture of the E build with the leap. It's a very kind of different build. You hear people argue for both, but you typically see that against the Samru just because you have your E up more often. But I think with Samru being more of a push build, Sonya doesn't need as much sustain. We do have Samru going to be able to get that top. And so they're able to delay. Samru can go all the way to the keep. We do have now the leap. Oh, it wasn't the leap, it was a toss. I thought it was Sonya. But it was the toss. But kind of the situation of Stukov, I thought was going to maybe be able to get some value out of that. We do have the leap use and miss on the hammer, but with Samru doing some split pushing, they recognized it was a 4v5 and then try to take advantage of it. Able to get 2 kills. We do see 30 seconds of Mosh move over to invade. And yeah, we do have Samru pushing. I mean, you know, Samru can push until keep. We do have Jaina coming back. Ooh. And that's the thing, even with the objective being secured, the lanes are so kind of far pushed that this might be an easier defense. We do have Sam around, still hanging around, harassing Jaina, but with a Deckard, should be fine.
Get on before they charge at us.
I think I've been giving Sam so much screen time. Pelor, you can't complain that I don't give you any screen time. So Sam dealing with that top. We do have the mid crashing right away with that siege camp as well, so they're going to have to deal with that first. We do have Jaina coming down, but I'll say Jaina's got to be careful. Obviously, Habitual line steppers didn't know that Jaina was by themselves. They do now move to the bottom lane. I imagine they're going to be able to maybe get this full keep. The toss on the Mei with the ice wall then being used. We have the... Oh, that's interesting. The Garrosh was definitely silenced. We have the leap on the Stukov, but may able to kind of delay some of that. We do now Samru coming in the back now, able to kind of dissuade the push. But that was a very interesting interaction. I think everybody saw that, right? The Garrosh was in the ice wall and silenced, but still was able to unstoppable. So... Uh-oh. Looks like I'm having some issues. Hopefully I'm able to reconnect back. This is actually something that I've been just dealing in general with Heroes of the Storm for the past week and a half. Like these kind of random connections or disconnections. And hopefully I'm able to get back. Oh no. No. Yeah. This is why I paid the big bucks. The game did crash, but I don't know if I'm able to rejoin. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I think we've had this happen to a couple team members as well, where they kind of got disconnected and they weren't able to get back in. It looks like it was my turn to experience it. That is unfortunate. Yeah, this is why I'm paid the big bucks. Yeah, it's not going to let me rejoin. It says that the game is locked. Well, the game was, yeah, it would have been better, right, if I got disconnected early, was able to rejoin late, at least to catch the end. But instead, I got disconnected and at the end. Hopefully, I'll see if I can go back and kind of add that last portion to the VOD. Yeah, I know. That's unfortunate. And like I said, well, it's been, I don't know if it's an issue just with this client. I've gone through and re-downloaded and everything, but it's just been this past week that I've had that issue. I think a few other people have had that same problem. So that's very bad. Let's see. What I'm going to try to do is... hopefully I don't miss too much action. In my own experience this past week, I've had it happen during Storm League and got disconnected and got levers quite a few times. Let's see. It looks like they're out. But at least I'll be able to tell you what happened. I can see that the team's... I guess I'll move to the map select. Well, at least the good news is I was told that Habitual Line Steppers won the objective and were then able to end with it. So yeah, game 3. So at least we get a game. Hopefully this time it won't disconnect. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess with having a Deckard, it's appropriate that I have you stay a while and let me tell you a story of how Habitual Line Steppers won the objective in game 2 and then were able to push to the win with it. Stay a while and listen. But the good news is there will be a game number 3, so let me update the information. Typically in the past, I've had this disconnect, and then I would be able to rejoin. But this time, right when it closed and I tried to rejoin, it just said can't join locked game, which I guess is good. Also annoying, especially when scenarios like this happen. Unfortunate. Let's see. Make sure I update the scoreboard. But again, just before we cut off, we did see that this time around, Habitual Line Stepper was able to get a little more value from the hammer. Very much the map's a little bit bigger. Having the Samru to push the different lanes. Definitely helps with that. And it looks like we're going to Cursed Hollow. So we're going to be going to Cursed Hollow. It was picked by Habitual Line Steppers. Okay, so it looks like they've been opting to kind of dictate which map they're going to. All right. So we have everybody in here. I have to make sure I have enough AOL minutes so I don't disconnect. I think this is the first 3-game series I've casted in a while. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a 3-game series. I think I've been very much consistent with always having 2-0 matches. Well, let's see. Looks like both teams are in the lobby now. Hopefully we have none of these issues. But again, very much good job on the Habitual Line Steppers. Very much early, we're able to kind of set some rotations, get a few kills on the offlaner, Sonya. Very much helping with getting the soak with the Samru. Again, unfortunately, we missed the last couple sequence when they were both in the bottom objective, but 30-second Habitual Line Stepper is able to secure it.
Cursed Hollow.
But with that, we're moving on to game number 3. Like I said, I can't think of it. I think it's been maybe since last season, or the season before. Yeah, I think it was like last season. I had 1, maybe 2 3-game series. And this season, I think I very much have had only 2 zeros. All right, now moving on to game number 3. We do see Tahako. We do see now the Samu being banned out. Samu was banned out in the second round, the third ban, I think, in game 1. It was actually the first pick, so 30 seconds said we don't want to deal with that, so let's just get rid of it now. Garrosh. So 30 seconds has been very consistent with selecting that Garrosh right away. I think it very much has enabled a lot of or dictating how the fights are going. We do see Sylvanas this time, followed by Stukov. I think the Stukov definitely got also a little bit more value last time. And so we have seen 30 seconds to Mosh play Deathwing. So I'm curious if they would try to play that strategy of playing Deathwing on Cursed Hollow. And yep, there you go. I was gonna say, if you have a Deathwing player, you definitely want to play it here, so being able to use that fireball ability to delay the channeling of the objective. We do see an Orphea now again being banned out. I think the bans have been very much the same for Habitual lineups. I think it's been those 3 each time. The Deathwing and a Garrosh likely want to get rid of maybe some percent damage. We do see the Greymane being banned out. I'm surprised I haven't seen a Tychus. Tychus is also very much a hero that is good against a Deathwing. We do see the Leo come out again, so getting some percent damage at least to help with that. Very beefy frontline. Imagine we're gonna get a Jaina. I think the cast have done. Typically, we have Captain on the Jaina. They might do a little bit something different. Yeah, we do see the Jaina. So this is very much similar to the first one, right? Yeah, it was a Deathwing Blaze Garrosh, but the healer was a Deckard. We do have a Brightwing this time, having a global with a Jaina. So one of the big weaknesses here is that they're very susceptible to high mobility heroes. A Blaze and a Garrosh have some ability to peel, but we see the hammer again. Okay, interesting, because this was the comp that 30 seconds to Mosh had in the first game, and very much it was difficult for the hammer to get value. But again, this is a larger map. Maybe having that space will help. But definitely made it a little more difficult for the hammer to step up. But with that, I'll see you shortly for game number 3. All right, welcome back. We'll get started with our introductions.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
We have Peldor on the Lorik, Boomer APM on
3,
the Hammer, Vern on the May, Turtwig
fight.
on the Stukov, and No More Heroes on the Sylvanas. On the side of 30 seconds to Mosh, we have Farvanugan on the Garrosh again, Captain on the Jaina, Born to Shine on the Stukov. We do see the toss on the Leo, but again, Leo's probably the one you want to have that happen to. We do see Hunter X on the Deathwing right away went bottom to try and get some value. Leo will rotate to help deal with that. And then Rock on the Blaze in top lane. So again, a little bit of a kind of different setup, right? Since this map is a little bit larger. The rotations of having to deal with that hammer are not as easy as Infernal, even though Deathwing obviously has the ability to be a global. We do see the hammer right away. Be top lane. They were trying to bait out the Blaze. I was saying that, oh no, May's gonna go down. Unfortunately, your health and having to be hit by towers can't overcome all that damage. Leo trying their best to deal with this Deathwing. If you can land your spooky hand, right, it becomes a lot more difficult, but if you're able to avoid it, Deathwing can actually have no problem. We do see that mid camp being taken up, or picked up by 30 seconds of Mosh. You have Sylvanas able to use the trait to kind of turn off the camp, and not going to get much value besides the XP. Jaina moving bot to get that siege camp going with the objective top lane. Obviously, they're going to try and time it so that it's pushing bottom lane at the same time as the top objective. It's one of those actually things that if you're able to delay this top objective enough and that camp is not cleared, often it's a very bad trade. Unfortunately, it's one of those catch-22. It looks like the camp will get here. Yeah, so if you're Leo, I think you want to not push in a little bit or too much, because you want those giants to step up a little bit more. That way you can clear them. We do have Sylvanas and Turtwig on Sukov pick up that bruiser camp of their own, so that's going to get a little bit push mid. So the camp, if you're Leo, you're focusing on that, obviously. It looks like they're gonna opt to just give this. And that's actually very good. With the Sylvanas is able to use the trait. And the camp is not gonna get there quite just late. Oh, we have... It looks like someone else. So I guess it's not just myself that has had issues, unfortunately. Okay, so... It wasn't just me. Unfortunately. All my homies left game 3. It said... Hopefully we are able to get that back. Like I said, something that happened after the last patch, right? First of all, it's good, right? The janitor is able to get a patch out, but I think something happened on the back end. Because this is something I've seen a couple times now. It looks... Okay, looks like they're back. Oh yeah, I can't respond. I say I'm ready, but they can't see me.
The tribute of faith.
Okay, there you go.
Return.
We do have Habitual line servers starting that siege top, and the blaze can only do so much. We do have a couple more members of 30 seconds to Mosh rotating back. No, not the patch today. It was the patch last week, or the week before that. Ever since then, I've had issues with DCs. That's the only reason I get disconnects in Storm League. But I had a DC earlier, and then Raka just had DC right now. So maybe it's the server? We need to get a go feed. The hamsters are running the servers. Garrosh, slow down and get silenced and showing the power of the Stukov. It's not, Garrosh is less scary when they cannot press their buttons. With a Sylph and a hammer, I mean, this is a very good push. We did see the second tribute being collected by 30 Seconds of Mosh in the last, right after the sequence where we had a DC, but didn't matter. Habitual line steppers are saying we're just gonna not go for the objective and just push, and that's a strategy that has often can be used into success, although it is playing with fire at times because it can go wrong very bad really quickly. Both teams are about to be level 10. Obviously, we did see Deathwing with the Skyfall help delay. So I mean, that's very good because Deathwing can't say Deathwing is in the air, going to get delayed. That obviously trying to buy time for the rest of the team to finish out that boss. And I do like this play. Oh, was Sylvanas killed by the Deathwing? What? I'm gonna have to go back and see what happened there, because was it by the Deathwing Skyfall that the Sylvanas died? And so this is actually the most ideal situation. Not only were they able to delay, they were able to get their camps out. So this is kind of the best case scenario for 30 seconds. Jaina's kind of out there, but not much threat. We do have the Blaze pushing top, and that will be even out to the top lane for both teams with the camp mid. And so 30 seconds. Oh, that hammer in a very bad spot. And this is where an unstoppable very much would have been nice, right? Wait, they did start their own camp, but I think they can't take this. Yeah, it's going to get leashed. They do recognize, and it does get leashed. Top boss finally does go down. And then after getting the top fort and some damage to the towers. We do see 30 seconds to Mosh now. Very much going to secure this bottom fort. And so this is where the playing with fire kind of comes in, right? Because they do have a 2-to-1 advantage in the tribute, so they very much, you have to make the decision. Are we gonna fight for this? Are we gonna just defend? I mean, both are level 12, so there is no disadvantage as far as the levels. We do have habitual line steppers and kind of a split hammer trying to step up. And that Deathwing able to outrange the hammer a bit. We do have the Entomb, but 30 seconds was able to secure the third of the tribute and the curse. And with that, we do see Habitual Line Steppers retreat. Although Leo might not be able to retreat slowed forever with that talent, we do have the Garage playing a little bit aggressive, looking to maybe go in for the backline and get a toss in. Likely looks like they're targeting this. Stukov does get the toss and this done. Stukov with 80 HP does go down. May did use that Ice Wall to buy some time. We have 4 members on that May. You know, again, as I said, that May can survive those tosses a little bit better than a noob could. But still, when you have 4 heroes focusing you down, it's still not an easy task. We do have Deathwing using Cataclysm to get some damage to that front wall of the keep. And 30 seconds is opting just to step out and go straight for the boss. Although we know that, especially on Cursed Hollow, I would say that on Cursed Hollow, obviously this is infamously known as the throw pit. Sylvana's trying to get some vision. They're not going to be able to get on point. We do have May getting there, but will be feared off by the Deathwing's bellowing roar. And the boss is secure, but do have the Entomb on the Deathwing. Bunker does come out with a silence. Very nice follow-up, and maybe not quite a 100% throw, because we do have the boss being secured, but that very much going to be cleared rather quickly. I don't think it's going to do too much damage. Probably going to take down these towers, but I guess I called it right. This is why it's infinitely, called the throw pit for a reason. Right away with the Sylvanas, Habitual Line Steppers do move their sights to that mid forward. Again, trying to help with the waves. Brightwing trying to do their best, but again, you got to be careful, right? Not much of Brightwing can do. We do have Jaina now coming to support. We do now have the Deathwing coming down, and Sylvanas I don't think has their escape. Oh, they did have it in the last second, but it looks like the Stukov gonna be cut out and does go down. We did have Leo trying to get some push top, and even with that, they're slightly ahead in XP. They're about to get to level 16, but they're not going to be able to do much until Stukov is back. We do see 30 seconds coming to invade and Bruiser Camp. That's something we've seen them consistently do throughout this particular series, being rather aggressive, and usually worked out for them. I think this boss call here, I mean, they did get it, but ended up costing them 3 members. We do have now Deathwing flying up. And are they going to go for their boss? I will say this is kind of surprising. I wouldn't imagine that maybe they're going to sniff it out. It looks like they are going to be able to get this without, yeah, no one from okay, now it's a little bit delayed. The hammer gets tossed in. We do have the ice wall come in, but the boss will be secured. A 4-person entomb, but the blaze somehow gets out. Bellowing Roar is going to create some space. Bunker does get used. Hammer goes down quickly, and Stukov in the Stukov was in a very bad position, but that throw actually kind of helped the Stukov. Stukov was in a bad spot, but now we have both backlines running away. Leo trying to put pressure on the Jaina, likely will be able to secure that, and so Stukov actually was in a very bad spot, but it was able to actually get thrown to safety, and the Leo's actually able to get the kill on the Brightwing as well, and so Leo able to secure 2 kills on the backline, and so again, not ideal, but ended up working out better in the favor of Habitual Line Steppers. Again, able to secure the boss, but at the cost of some hero deaths. Like, it was a 2 for 1, I believe, or 2 for none. We do see 30 seconds now moving to their Bruiser Camp. Should be able to pick this up. Yeah, they're not going to invade. We do see Now the siege begin. Icewall comes out to try to zone them out. Leo trying to get in there. Does get a 2-person or 1-person entomb, but not much follow up there. Although entomb is in a rather short cooldown, so it's one of those things you can throw out. Just trying to fish for a setup. We do see Deathwing now going to take to the sky. That middle camp will have to be dealt with at some point. Both teams are level 18, and so they're going to try to... This is where you have to have 3 people channel at the same time. If you have 3 people channeling, it's kind of hard for the Deathwing to stop all 3, depending on how you do it. We do have the Leo moved mid and kind of a split. May using the trait for the moment, able to get away with only 500 health. The silence does come out. Entomb on the Leo, at least for the moment, being delays the pursuit. May still rather low. The Sylph now cut up by the Blaze, having to use Unstoppable to get away. And both, now that very good, actually, Ice Wall, but we see the Leo still kind of behind. Having trouble keep up with the movement going on. We do see now the... Going for the boss. 3rd time is a charm, correct? 3rd time is a charm. I mean, I think this is going to be a lot more difficult. The Leo's going to take a kind of back view. Gets Polly right away. We do see the fear on the Leo. Leo this time not in trouble, able to use Wraithwalk to get away momentarily, but then is secured. Actually, was the toss, the ally toss that I think helped secure. And they did get that boss. But now this is a very dangerous position for Habitual Line Steppers. They do have a boss pushing, as well as the 3rd potential tribute. We have the Jaina now being focused by the Leo. Does go down, and very much a trade that was needed. But I imagine that Leo does go down, but that's okay. May is way back here. I didn't realize that. So a 2 for 1, but Leo's going to be back in before the end of this. But it looks like they're just going to opt to give up the tribute. And now the 2nd curse in favor of 30 seconds to Mosh. It's going to get a little bit more value with that boss, and we'll be able to secure that bottom keep. So the win condition has opened up now for 30 seconds to Mosh. Now we do see that Bruiser camp being taken to help with the siege mid. But again, a little difficult against a Hammer, and Hammer able to kind of provide some damage. We do have the Entomb on the Deathwing, uses the fear, and Leo gets feared away and does go down. Oh, wasn't it Leo? It was Stukov, sorry. I was wondering why there was a Stukov way up there. Now the Leo's tossed and will be followed by the stun from the Blaze, and does go down now. And with 2 members, this is becoming now a situation you want to be careful. Good Ice Wall on the Brightwing, but there isn't going to be much as far as follow-up, I believe. We do have the silence and the stun, but May looks like they're going to be able to get away for the time being. Deathwing will be able to use that breath to secure the 2nd keep, mid keep, and so now Habitual Line Steppers are going to have to be dealing with that. At about 17 minutes, we have our level 20s for both teams. We do have Bolt of the Storm, Failing or Controlled Chaos, Shatter, Ultra Capacitors, and Buried Alive. We do have Deadly Calm, Burn Notice, Arrival of a God, Winter Mute, and Invisible Friends. But this time around, they're going to be able to safely get that boss, and I think it's now the 4th boss that 30 seconds to Mosh has been able to get in this match. That might be a record. Usually it's 1 boss and then you lose, correct? But now we get to the point where it's kind of slow. I imagine they're going to be able to get rid of this boss rather quickly. I do think it likely will secure this top keep. They have decent burn. But at 18 minutes, it's going to start hurting that building. They're going to be able to save it, I think. Okay, so they're able to secure it or save it with 5,000 health. Oh no, Leo, in the meantime, just rotated on him. And so, that's why I guess I can say Deathwing making the case for the auto attack build. But that E build is very important to help you not get caught out of rotation. Good job on 30 seconds. And with that, they're looking to maybe see if they can get 1 or 2 more kills. That Unstoppable is used. And so this time they were briefly silenced. We do see the silence from Sylvanas being used. And with that, enough to dissuade 30 seconds to back off. But very much with the Sylvanas, if they're able to secure a team wipe, they can march the core. So even though right now the map very much favors 30 seconds of march, you do have to be careful. We have Jaina and Garrosh. Jaina trying to potentially set up the slow for the Garrosh. Garrosh does go in. We have the Silence and Tube on the Blaze, and will be going down very good. The Blaze does have bunker, but it does not work when you can't press your buttons. So very good play on the Leo. Now they see the chase go on, but we do, oh, very good. Although you were not going to be able to silence. We do see the Cataclysm being used as an escape tool, but they're going to have to be mindful. They have these giants that are siege and bot, and with the catapults building, someone will have to respond.
Under attack.
Looks like Sylvanas is going to be doing that. So will be a 4v4. So you don't have to fight for this. There's something else as well, that if you're 30 seconds, you don't really have to fight for this. But it looks like they recognize that Leo was trying to provide some vision. Will be cut out by the... Oh, the Entomb on... I don't know if this is a good idea. Okay, I'll say the Entomb ran out, but not the Silence. And now Habitual line steppers are in kind of that weird spot of, do we fight the boss? Do we stay on point? Leo's trying to provide some vision, as well as peeling, able to put some pressure on that Jaina. We have now does he have Unstoppable? No, the Controlled Chaos. And they're able to get it. Ice Wall on the Brightwing. Leo, or Sylvanas is rather low. We do have the Deathwing go down, trading in it for the Sylvanas. I would say maybe an even trade, I think. I guess this boss at 21 minutes. Yeah, that Robert Dugan has done a good job. He's out the Silence and Tomb on the Blaze and follow up with the... but able to get out. But Jaina, rooted by the boss. We do have... Wait, these are 2 catapults. I mean, it's only 2 catapults. We do have Leo go back. Unfortunately, they don't have Sylvanas. That root again from the boss. They follow with the Silence from the... Oh, Blaze gets away with about, I would say, 500 health. The members of 30 seconds have to be very aware of those roots. That did help secure the kill on Jaina, so that root followed up by the Stukov Silence. Blaze was tanky enough to survive it. But any other of the backline very much would... and now with that we see the curse now being secured, but I imagine that's fine if you are 30 seconds. You're like, okay. Sorry, if you're Habitual, right? The lines are pushed out a bit. It looks like they are looking for a fight. May does go in. The Silence on. And I just realized they have like 3 silences with the Sukov, the Sylvanas, and the Leo, but Leo now was top. It looks like Deathwing's trying to get an angle for the Cataclysm to go in, and Leo needs to catch up to provide support to the team. We do have curves, but lanes are so pushed out that very much it's not doing much. Mei is slowed forever now, able to use that skate away to get away from a potential toss. Now we do see Garrosh trying to move in. I imagine you don't want to throw that Leo. Well, he does throw the Leo, but throw it away. We have Deathwing now landing on the back line. Leo's trying to put some of that pressure. I imagine they do have Entomb.
My curse subsides.
But we will see the top keep now. Oh, and we do see Silence Tomb on the Blaze, but again, it wasn't quite enough damage. Now Mei's getting low, able to use Unstoppable. I think that's a trade. No, it's not. Unstoppable is used. Sukov in a really bad spot. The Deathwing able to land and secure the kill on the Stukov, able to use Billion Roar to create some more space. And now members of Habitual Line Steppers getting very low, trying to get away. Looks like Leo is able to, at least for the moment being, but they do have the maybe the ability, not if the Leo goes down. Yeah, that's exactly what you didn't want. And now with Leo down, oh, that silence, very good to secure the kill on the Garrosh. We do see Mei go down though. Bunker is up, and we have 3 members in it. Oh, but Blaze now goes down, and so a 2 for 3. But now we have the members, remaining members, I should say, of 30 seconds retreating. Looks like they're gonna, yeah, they should be able to get this. This would be the 5th boss? Oh no, Jaina. Oh, okay. Those boss routes have been deadly. Leo's trying to help clear, but at minute 25, I mean, this is one of those bosses that actually can do quite a bit of damage, especially to a core that's already down to 85%. So they need to get on top of this boss right away and start clearing it. They have some time.
Or face my curse.
I guess they're opting to get this siege camp to help. Siege camp can do a little bit of help of slowing down that boss a little bit and then doing some damage to it. That boss looks like it will be melted before he even does any damage to. And now they're doing the bottom boss at 30 seconds. This is what, boss? Am I making up stuff now? That's 6 now. This is 6, correct? Yeah, it is 6. Boss number 6. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever done 6 bosses. Usually maybe 1 or 2. We've seen a total of 7 because Habitual Line Steppers did get 1, so 7 boss takes on this particular map. This map's gonna be a little bit closer, and so I imagine Deathwing's gonna be going up in the air and landing on the back line. Yeah, I was trying to get an angle. You know, able to create a distraction for the time being. We do have now Deathwing trying to kind of set up an angle. Leo, very good in tune, but unfortunately overlap of abilities with the ice wall, and looks like Leo will be, oh no, I can assumed. We do have now Cataclysm, and with that, the core call has been made, and that boss at 27 minutes, a little bit too much at this point, able to secure game number 3, as well as the win for 30 Seconds Mosh. Switch over to the game summary. Try and see if we could get a interview. And indeed, that was a very exciting game number 3. Trying to update the details. While we get a few to join us looking at some of the stats. Hammer and Jaina top for both teams. Along with the offlaner, so Deathwing and the Auric. And some of that healing. Brightwing, 150k. I mean, that is gonna expect it at 28 minutes. And so here we're joined. Double check. I don't have my Discord open. I just hear the joins. And so we have Born to Shine and Captain. And so
Yes.
welcome and congratulations on your 2-1 victory. How is everybody feeling?
Sweaty.
Yeah, we're super excited, but those are some great, sweaty, exciting games for sure.
Yeah, that game number 3 definitely was all the hype, especially again for a matchup between I guess at this point was the top 2 of the top 3 teams in Division E. And so coming into this particular matchup, what was kind of your thoughts? You had played your first matchup and you won 2-0. So were you feeling confident? Were you thinking, hey, they're likely going to have a chip on their shoulder? And so how are you feeling coming into this particular matchup?
Honestly, it's just one of those ones where we respected them a lot. And I did a lot of scouting on them in the first time, so I felt pretty confident in what I knew they were going to do. I will give them credit, though, in that second game where they first picked the Samuro. I was like, I got played so hard on Alter Ec Pass. I did not expect them to do that. Like, who does turn 1 Samuro, Like,
yeah. And so then you realize maybe we should just ban that, right? So in that game number 1, so very much we see very much the same comps for the most part run. We have a couple kind of pieces switched here and there. In Infernal Shrines, were you already kind of expecting the hammer coming out? Because I think you picked a Deathwing before that, correct? I think it was the last pick the hammer, I think as well, or was it the last pick Deathwing? I forget. But how are you feeling in dealing with the hammer? Because usually hammer or comps are a lot of people are not used to playing against hammer comps. So what was your approach to that in very much every game of the series?
Well, without giving away too many state secrets,
yeah,
but
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
But you'll see it next week because I'm locked into a hammer game due to a reschedule. So I actually do play hammer. I'm not as good as Boomer on it, but we do basically go the same build, and I know that they had played it before. So it was one of those things that was on my mind. It was either we're gonna get a Sylv, or we're gonna get a hammer, or we're gonna get a Chromie.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really expecting him to pull a swap on us. Like, well played on that one at the end. But in game 1, I kind of figured they would if I took away the Sylvanas, because hammer's really strong on that map. And can be really annoying to deal with, but I did plan for the Deathwing on that one.
Yeah, and I also like playing Deathwing. I personally like playing Deathwing into a hammer, so very much I kind of saw that. I was like, oh, it's because Deathwing can very much kind of outrange the hammer depending on how they do it. But
yeah,
that game number 1 was very much a strong showing. I don't know if you noticed, but it was 16 kills to none, and so very much a clean sheet. Very much you just controlled the match and kind of carried it to the win. Now moving on to game number 2, a little bit different now with Altrak. And so you just mentioned right now that so once you saw the Samuru pick, what were you thinking how we're going to be dealing with the Samuru? Because Samuru is going to be very annoying.
Well, once I saw the Samuro pick into our Garrosh, my first thing was, how are we going to deal with poke and being able to be in different places? Because I was expecting maybe a Chromie. I wasn't also expecting them to go to the hammer, so now in playoffs I'll remember that. the big thing for me was just making sure that we had some ability to anchor and play multiple lanes. But in the end, I mean, their comp was just so, they had the ability to be everywhere, and it was really hard for us to be everywhere. So it was kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts at that point. Like we had a lot of mistakes that we made in that one. But they played their comp really well. Like their strategy was really well. And
Yeah.
props to Peldor because he snuck one in on me, and I was just happy to see it. Like it was like, yep, this is why we ban it. This hurts. But we were in good spirits. Like we knew what was going on.
Yeah, it's one of those where, you can't ban everything, right? Because it does. You have to ban this, you have to ban this, you have to ban this, and you can only have so many bans, right?
And they kept banning my stitches, and I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would say that Far From Nougat did a really good job on Garrosh. I think even with the hammer comp, it's kind of hard to go into a hammer, but you kind of just said, hey, we're just going to blow up the tank. And that kind of often what happens, especially in game 1 and even in the game 2 and 3, very much was kind of what happened. The tank got thrown in and just died, right? So it makes it easy to deal with a hammer when they don't have a tank. Moving on to game number 3, obviously with Cursed Hollow, we did see you ban out that Sam. You realized I'm not gonna, fool me once, shame on me. But otherwise, right during the draft, right away, I said, oh well, I imagine they're probably gonna maybe pull out that Deathwing to maybe play on the delay of the objective, and very much you did see that come through. But going through the match, a lot of back and forth. I would say. I need to go back and maybe look at this, but you probably set a world record or NGS record with number of boss takes. Because last that I counted was 6. That's 6 boss takes. That's and that doesn't include the one that they also got. So it's a total of 7. And so I'm pretty sure that's an NGS record. I have to maybe go through, but and so the first one I did mention, here's the infamous, the throw pit, right? Because that's very much with Cursed Hollow boss, and so it got a little hairy for your team. So how did you feel when you're like, okay, well, we got the boss, but 3 of us died?
It was like a Pyrrhic victory. I think I said that right. I'm like 60% sure I used that word correctly. It was, we won, but, however, comma. So the problem is with their team, their comp, they have such a good core defense that once you lose a person into a Sergeant Hammer with that level 20 specifically and percent damage along with a Sylve, you kind of just have to leave. Because you're not going to go into it. I think a lot of people underestimate how strong a core defense can actually be when you're going to finish. So when it came down to it, it's like, we got the boss, but did we?
I mean, I was confident because we only ever throw on boss on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that was banned out. So I was like, we're good.
Oh, we're not going to throw ever. But but you were you very much captured, I think, practically most of the points and got 3 curses, so you very much had the pressure. But moving on to late game, we're getting now to minute 23, 24, 25. How is the team feeling at this point? Because this is where, with a Sylve, right, even with everything pushed back, they have a Sylve, one team fight can pretty much end it. So very much, what was your approach to kind of dealing with, again, they have a hammer. We need to try to get to the hammer. They had some really good entombs. And so what were your thoughts of like your target colleague, etc.?
It's funny that you should mention the entombs because that was one of the things that I called out specifically. Like in the later game, I was like, hey, we have to watch out for these. Like the entombs are a really big threat here. We were calling for, just be on the lookout for that. Oh, entomb used here. Everyone was hyped. The comms were really good, really positive because we were just so excited and sweaty. This game was fantastic. But yeah, we were definitely having to keep an eye out for those entombs and, calling out how good their core defense was. And just it was a lot of like, hey, wait for this, keep an eye out for that, keep an eye out for something else until then. Okay, now we can move in.
Great. And I mean, very much you got your sixth boss to take of the matchup, and then at minute 28, right, that's going to do quite a bit of damage. So with that, able to ride that boss to the core and secure your 2-1 victory. And so now that's the second match, right? And so you got a domination 1 and then the 2-1 here. And so I'm not too sure how this particular playoff. What's the playoff scenario? Is it everybody in the division makes a playoff? That's correct.
I think so, and then I think first seed gets a bye, or 1 and 2 get a bye, and the others have they have to go through the gauntlet.
So very much there's something on the line then, right? The idea is that it's not just all getting that bye definitely is something you want. You can take a week off to kind of rest and then, look at the other teams kind of fight it out. And so how are you feeling with the last, because you have, I think, 2 more games, I believe, based on what I saw from the standing. So how are you feeling kind of moving towards now to the playoffs?
So for me, with the buys, this is my last season, so I'm like, I don't really care because it means I get to play more HOTS. And for me, if we end up having to play in round 1 of the playoffs, I don't care. I'm here to have fun. Like I'm just here to play. So for me, having to go into that and getting a week off is kind of whatever. I'd like to just keep playing. It obviously feels good to be at the top, but like I just love playing, and I think Div E this season is really competitive all the way down. Even the lower seed teams, I feel like how you can't sleep on them. You have to respect what they're doing and play at your top. So it feels like one of the more competitive Div E seasons we've had in a while.
For sure. And those last 2 games that we have, actually because of some not scheduling issues really, but the rematch we had to set up, because with Trial by Annihilation, we play them next week rather, for our last game, but we also still have to make up our previous week's game because everyone was getting disconnected. So our last 2 games, those 2 we're missing, are both going to be with Trial by Annihilation.
Oh yeah, and so we saw that today too. I got disconnected, and then Raka. So I've been telling some people watching, like, I don't know if you play enough, this happens. This has happened multiple times to me as well during Storm League, where I'm like in the middle match in draft or like in the game, I get DC'd, I can't rejoin. And then I get levers. So that's been my past week. Anyways, and with that, hopefully everything goes well for you. And then I'll leave the floor to you if you have any shout outs or anything you want to close off or cast for tonight.
I'll just say shout out to my team. This is again my last season, so it's been amazing playing with everyone. I'll still be around, but like it's been very special to me this entire time, ever since COVID started. Thanks to Teal and basically every coach we had, but Teal for sticking around and just dealing with our BS. Thanks to HLS for the games tonight. Really fun and like everything I was hoping it would be, basically. So really, really happy we got that. And the last minute casting, like, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to my coffee and cast tomorrow morning while I play Arc. So yeah, that'll be good. And I don't know, babe, do you have anything else?
Nope. I think you covered everything. Like the big one, like I said, or like you already said rather, to Teal. So thank you for being our coach for multiple seasons and putting up with all of our shenanigans. We're currently sitting at the position we're at just because of Teal's coaching and advice. So we appreciate it always.
Great. And so with that, again, enjoy your victory. Congrats. And maybe hopefully look to forward cast some matches in the playoffs.
Sounds good. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a
good night.
Bye. All right. With that concludes our cast for this evening. I believe we do have another cast going on. Let me double check. I believe it's Tokibi that's casting another match right now, but don't want to send you off to a channel that's not going. And so for those who are still, they're going. So I'll be passing you off to that particular matchup. So if you want to continue with the NGS action, you can join that stream. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining me this evening, Dark Knight. And so again, with Division E matchup, a 2-1 victory for 30 seconds to Mosh over Habitual line steppers. And so again, thank you very much. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time.